Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. In this video, I want to talk with you about something that I haven't talked about too much on this particular channel, and it's about the distribution of top cryptocurrencies, specifically, of course, XRP, because this is an XRP-centric channel, and also Ethereum and Bitcoin. And so this piece by AMB Crypto kind of laid out a lot of the specifics, and I thought it'd be a fun time to dive in. I've also got a piece from CoinDesk I'll touch on after that, about White House issuing an advisory that cryptocurrencies are being used to purchase fentanyl. Fun times indeed. And by the way, it just started storming here, so if you hear some loud sounds in the background, that is thunder. Not a gas-powered leaf blower, as is the case for what you hear in the background from many YouTube channels. Somebody put out a funny tweet, actually, the other day. It was something along the lines of, the quickest way to find a gas-powered leaf blower is to start recording a video for YouTube. And I just kind of laughed. There's definitely some truth to that. But I hope I don't lose power as I get going here. That would kind of suck. Anyway, before we get going, if you would please delicately tap that like button. And if you are a fan of Ripple and XRP, you're in the right place. You are amongst friends here. Go and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel. Alright, so the piece, Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus XRP, a comparative analysis of their distribution. There has been a recurring argument about the distribution of tokens and pre-mining of coins, especially for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Some argue that the pre-mining and allocation of funds to founders/company has to be done to stay afloat. However, others disagree. This is a touchy topic that dips its toes into ethics and morality. Bitcoin has danced this dance quite a few times. People have questioned Satoshi's motives of being the only miner and the wealth he has accumulated as a result. Dan Hedl addressed each of these concerns factually and logically in his tweet thread. No pre-mining. Satoshi gave a 2-month heads up before mining the Genesis block. Satoshi Nakamoto included a message of no pre-mine. Dan Hedl tweeted, "Before Satoshi's invention, the concept of pre-mining didn't exist. To be this prescient demonstrated incredible maturity." Satoshi wasn't alone. Hal Finney mined Bitcoin a day after it was launched. Declining hash. Satoshi Nakamoto steadily reduced his mining footprint after sufficient hash rate had been accumulated on the network. Satoshi's balance. Although it is said that Satoshi accumulated approximately 700,000 bitcoins, he only spent a couple of coins in test transactions. He never really cashed out. And, part of the speculation, of course, and who knows, we'll probably never know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, or who they are. It could be more than one person that worked together to put this together. And also, there's all sorts of theories out there that Satoshi has since passed away anyway, and that's the reason that all the Bitcoin that he accumulated, worth a crazy amount of money, I think was it like 10 billion or something like that, at the current price levels. The theory is that he hasn't cashed out because perhaps he's no longer with us. And then on the screen here, they got a graphic. It's an approximate Bitcoin distribution as of 2019. And so the blue, if you're able to look, if you're not driving, take a look at the screen here. The blue portion is the Bitcoin yet to be mined, 15.23%, and the circulating supply of Bitcoin, 84.76% in yellow. So that's 3.2 million Bitcoins right there. And, as far as mining goes, and who gets it, just on the topic of centralization, can we at least agree, if we're talking about centralization, that power can fall into the hands of a few? If you look at mining on Bitcoin, where's the mining all centrally located? It's all in China right now. Let me go down a little bit further here. Let's dig into a little bit Ethereum versus Bitcoin, because I don't want to read this whole thing. It's pretty long. Vitalik Buterin, the brainchild behind Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, had a total of 500,000 ETH in one of his wallets, which were worth approximately $450,000 initially. These coins reduced in number, but the value reached as high as $500 million, or $500 million, during the peak price of Ethereum. Unlike Satoshi, Vitalik Buterin was now in possession of ETH, which could be used to his liking. Moreover, a large portion of Ethereum's pre-mined coins was allocated to the foundation and the token sale, which is why the argument about Ethereum's distribution as wealth arises. Further, the price of the token during a token sale is said to generally increase, which would put the founders at an advantage. Genesis pre-mine and token sales continue to contribute a whopping 67% of the total circulating supply of Ethereum. So I want to ask you a question, though, because I remember when I entered the world of cryptocurrency in November of 2017. There are all of these projects out there, and I could tell right away that they're ICOs, and they're launching all these coins. Many of them have been launched, and you could put your money into it. And so conceptually, why were people backing these particular coins? Because there were thousands even then. Was the idea that when these people are putting their money in, did they believe that these particular cryptocurrencies attached to these blockchains would one day actually be used as money? Well, no, probably not. The way that it seemed to me that they were behaving, and why it seemed so illogical, and still does, now that I've been in this space almost 2 years, coming up November, it'll be 2 years for me, just the idea that people were putting their money into these coins not based on the utility of the coin, but based on the idea of a project built on top of a blockchain. And my lights just flickered here. I really might lose power. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought here. Sorry about that, guys. It's really pouring out there, though. So anyway, so people are putting their money into these into all these projects, and maybe some of the projects were perfectly good ideas, but why do you need to have a coin attached? It's clearly a money grab, and I think that some of the people running the projects maybe weren't so open about intentions along with that back in the day. And so let me scroll down here to, here's a tweet from Ethereum. Okay, the argument about Ethereum's pre-mine erupted back in 2018 when there was a question of pumping the price of coins by well-known community members. Buterin stepped in to alleviate the problem as he tweeted, and here's a tweet now, "I personally am really proud to have helped set the precedent of small pre-mines being legitimate. It's an appalling idea that people operating boxes burning huge piles of electricity are somehow the only ones who should be allowed to gain from crypto seigniorage revenue." Did I say that right? I don't know. And that was from October 5th, 2018. So anyway, in this tweet, Buterin said that he was, quote, proud of popularizing the pre-mine model of fundraising, which added more fuel to the fire. In recent times, the same debate caught on after a user argued how pre-mining in Ethereum was worse than worst, and it had an atrocious wealth distribution, which could prevent it from scaling socially. And then you got, here's a pie chart now, so if you are not driving, feel free to look at the screen, but if you are driving, motorist, you keep your hands at 10 and 2. Do not put your fellow vehicle drivers in danger by looking away from the road. And so you've got Genesis plus pre-mine, which is the light blue, and it's 72 million, and then you've got the mining reward, which is the dark blue, 35 million. Let me jump down just a little bit further and get into XRP finally here. So XRP versus Bitcoin. Oh, I have an opinion on this one. The story of XRP distribution is in stark contrast to that of Ethereum, yet issues similar to that of Ethereum have been raised for XRP as well. There's a lot of mystery with regards to Ripple and XRP. Adding more mystery to the fact is the escrowed XRP and those given to the founders. XRP developers took a different approach to cryptocurrencies at that time. All of the 100 billion XRP was pre-mined and distributed. A major chunk of the XRP went into escrow, another portion went to the founders, while the rest was for the general public. I need to correct this right here. There was no mining of XRP. This term pre-mined, it's a fallacy. I understand. I talked to Galgatron about this, and he said something along the lines of, well, colloquially, this is just terminology that people use in the Bitcoin, I'm paraphrasing now, to explain it, and fair enough point. And so this isn't some harsh critique of Galgatron. I'm a huge fan of him. But it's easy terminology to fix. It's just kind of, like, at a minimum, it's a pet peeve of mine, but it's definitely wholly inaccurate. And I think that it's worth correcting this, even if it's not that big of a deal conceptually. If we're saying the same thing, like, or at least the idea that we have behind it conceptually is the same. The terminology is just incorrect, because what happens is if you keep going on with this language, there will be people out there that read pre-mined and assume that there was some sort of algorithm that XRP was actually mined, and it absolutely was not. Now, let me read this part now, because we're talking about the distribution of XRP. So then the company, which is OpenCoin at the time, got 80 billion. Jed McCaleb got 9 billion. Chris Larson got 7 billion, and other founders got collectively 4 billion. And then there's a chart showing distribution with Ripple, escrow, and circulating supply. Okay. So I have to say this, though. If you purchased XRP, you knew what the distribution was. And I mean, if you didn't, maybe you should have researched a little bit further. But I was well aware of the stash of XRP that Ripple had at the time, and they still have a ton. And I was well aware of the distribution that went to founders. All of this was public knowledge. It was perfectly transparent. And so from my perspective, I knew that I was buying a cryptocurrency attached to the XRP ledger, attached to an actual blockchain, and I knew that I wasn't buying a company or anything like that. I knew it wasn't a security. I just researched it, and I thought these people created something that is purely astounding to me, and what they're trying to do, it does sound audacious. Miguel Villas, head of XRP Markets, once stated, and I've noted this more than once on this channel, that he thinks that Ripple's plan is, quote, audacious. And it truly is. You're talking about upending the way in which the financial system works, specifically as it pertains to cross-border payment and settlement. This is no easy task. I have no qualms with this. And they're trying to create what they call the Internet of Value. Moving money as easy as you can send a text message today. No small feat. And so I don't care if these people get rich from this. I don't care if they already are rich. I don't care if they get more rich. Because them making more money has nothing to do with whether or not I make money having purchased XRP. Nothing. It does not matter. I just simply don't care. And so, given that I knew all this up front, and you should too if you bought into XRP, where is the real beef about this? If it were hidden, and it's like, surprise, hey, there's all this XRP, and it's actually being held by this company, you didn't know they had all this XRP, and the owners took so and so much, well, okay, fine, then you'd have an actual legit grievance. But I don't think any of us should feel like as though we have an actual grievance against this. And it's pure poppycock to me. And so anyway, and then the piece continues here. This distribution has led many to question if XRP is indeed decentralized, since approximately 60% of the total supply was held either in escrow or by the founding members. Further, BitMEX Research's blog sheds light on some of the popular criticism that is faced by XRP. As mentioned above, the distribution of wealth is one of the important aspects that helps in deciding if a cryptocurrency ecosystem is decentralized. Okay, that is a bogus argument. Because the devil is in the details. Okay, so Ripple, is it Ripple having a specific quantity of XRP that means that it's not centralized? Because understand, owning a certain amount of XRP does not give you special permissions on top of the XRP ledger. It absolutely does not. The XRP ledger is indeed quite genuinely decentralized. So you believe that there's a centralization of XRP, so at least word it as that. XRP itself is not centralized. But even if you believe that, that's the way that you want to word it. What is the number that Ripple has to get rid of? How much can they hold in order for it to be quote unquote decentralized? How much? How much is Ripple allowed to hold? Mind you, Ripple didn't even create XRP. It was gifted to them. How much does Ripple have to hold before you'll just admit that it's not decentralized? Is it 1 XRP? Is it 10? Is it 10 million? Is it 10 billion? Is it 0? What is it? Is it half of an XRP? And functionally, if your answer is 0, well, what if they own 1/10 of an XRP? It's somehow centralized? Like, what is it? And these are the types of arguments that I keep hearing from Bitcoin maximalists. And it's completely silly. So that's my 2 cents on it. You can tell me what you think, but I've never been able to appreciate these arguments that people put out, and to me it just seems disingenuous, and it invariably is coming from a Bitcoin maximalist. Surprise, surprise. Next piece here, this is from CoinDesk. White House advisory says cryptocurrency used for fentanyl purchases. The White House issued 2 advisories on drug purchases in the United States Wednesday, using the communications to make specific references to the role of cryptocurrencies in such transactions. The advisories addressed to both financial institutions and digital payment platforms state that convertible virtual currencies, particularly Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Monero, can be and have been used for illicit substance purchases on the clear, deep, and dark nets. The advisory defines convertible virtual currencies as monies that are easily liquidated into stable fiat currencies such as the dollar. Okay, but my God, everything is tracked. You're talking about public ledgers. Maybe not in the case of Monero. I believe that's a privacy coin. I don't own any of that. So maybe there would be a point to be made there, but not for the rest of them. That's really silly. Specifically noted is the drug fentanyl, a Schedule II controlled substance whose illicit cousin enters the U.S. through Mexico or China per the advisories. According to the Drug Enforcement Agency, fentanyl is 80 to 100 times stronger than morphine. And here's a quote. An analysis of sensitive financial data indicates that domestic illicit drug manufacturers, dealers, and consumers use online payment platforms, or convertible virtual currency, to purchase precursors, chemicals, or completely synthesized narcotics primarily sourced from China, the advisory states. The White House issued the financial advisory with other government agencies as a part of a broader cooperative effort to end the fentanyl epidemic. As such, methods of payment were studied, including virtual currencies. Well, it's fine. I mean, squash it where it needs to be squashed. This is illegal activity. I'm not for that, obviously. But, man. Actually, you know, I would like to talk to some of these people that are using cryptocurrencies which can be tracked to engage in this nefarious activity. Are they aware that it is being tracked? People, because I've highlighted a lot of stories where people, I guess they didn't know, or maybe they're just too cocky about thinking they could mask it, and they did go to jail. I've covered stories like that. It's fascinating to me. Anyway, piece continues. The July 27 takedown of dark market Alphabet by United States officials is given as an example of past interaction between virtual currencies and illicit substances. Included in the report is authority methods of tracking and discovery payments for illicit substances using CVCs, such as wallet and IP addresses, along with transaction hashes. So, there you go. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. I really appreciate the support. You're good people. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. And we made it to the end of the video without me losing power. This is good stuff. Now the question is, can I upload this before I do lose power? Because with how intense this storm is, I will not be surprised if that happens. We shall see. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!